And that is why I think that Manta Riptide is the best version of Riptide at the minute. Thank you for listening. Don't listen to that guy. Doesn't know what he's talking about. This is the way to play Riptide going forward. So, Death Dealer is gone. We cannot use it anymore. We have basically two bows to choose from, Bard Castaway and Manta. I'm about to make a case for why you should play Bard Castaway in this meta. When High Seas was announced, we thought, it's the sea, means it's Ranger, right? Means it's Riptide. And Pirate is an anagram for Riptide, so we thought we'd get a lot of support. Didn't quite get as much as we thought we would, but there are some really good new tools in the set for Bard Castaway Riptide, and actually for Ranger in general, to be fair. Before we get into the video, I've done various other videos on Bard Castaway Riptide that have a lot of information in them on how to play the deck, that sort of thing, and I might not cover all of it in this video because I'm just making up as I go along, basically. So if there's anything that you want to learn more about from the deck, you might find it in my other videos. And lastly, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get him out of the way. So I'll start off with the equipment. I'm playing Bard Castaway. It's the only bow in the deck. Let's put it right in the middle there so you know how important it is. And then the equipment, it's Tunic and Trench, New Horizons, Long Draw Half Glove. We'll put the legs down here because that's where they would be canonically. We'll put the hat up here. And yeah, the bow would actually be out here. And then we've got two quivers, which would be on Riptide's back. If you've seen the other deck techs, this is very similar to what I was playing before. However, we have one new addition, and that is the Sarong. What's Sarong? Nothing. What's wrong with you? This card it's okay. I think it is an improvement for Bard Castaway. It does improve the deck. What it does is it gives you a better floor, because now if you ponder your blue arrows, you can just shoot them out for go again. And the blue arrows in this deck do make your opponent think, and it makes them make a decision, and that's good. And it also improves the Gravy Bones matchup. But to be honest, the most important thing about this is that it says 2 in the bottom, which means when you combine it with Long Draw, it says 3, which means if your opponent comes in with CNC, you can just give Long Draw, Sarong, and a 3 block, and you're good to play out with the rest of your hand and your arsenal. That is very, very important. It also it lets you block a lot more freely as well. If, say, you're against like Katsu or Ira, and you want to block early, but you're like, oh, I don't know, they might finish off with CNC, and you know, I might not be able to block it that well. You no longer have to worry about it. Headpiece, New Horizons, Bard Castaway, it lets you flip arrows up at instant speed, which gives you the extra arrow slot. It's really, really good. You have to play New Horizons with this deck, lets you leverage 6-card hands, and that's good. Main chest piece is Tunic. The extra resource you get from this is very good for paying for the flip effect on Bard Castaway. The loading of the bow with Bard Castaway, you don't really want to do that unless you're doing some like tricky shenanigans or some sort of wide turn like that. But yeah, so for the most part, you're going to use the aim section, and paying an entire card sucks. So using your Tunic counter to do that is very, very good. Trench just comes in for the arcane matchups. You'll notice I'm on AB2, so if I'm against Vincent or any Runeblade, which is just flooring at this point, I play Null Rune Boots instead of the Trench. And then for Wizards, it's just these and the Enchanted Quiver as well. So yeah, that's the equipment. And also, canonically, like this makes sense. I can imagine that. So also I imagined Riptide. Next, I will show you, yes you, the person watching this right now, this is special, this bit is just for you. I'm going to show you the arrows. So we've got 3 copies of Drill Shot. Yeah, that lines up. 3 copies of Endless Arrow, 3 copies of Heat Seeker, and now for the aim arrows, we're playing, well, I'm playing, but you should too, Stone Ring and Murky Water. And for the blues, Drill Shot, Intoxicating Shot. So for the sideboard arrows, I've got 3 copies of Falcon Wing, 3 copies of Battering Bolt, and 3 copies of Remorseless. Behold, the arrows in their true glory. Drill Shot, 0 for 4 with a fantastic on-hit, and you can give it the encounter to give it piercing, so just a natural inclusion for Riptide. Also, armor sucks. Endless Arrow, probably the best arrow outside of your aims. Like, it's probably the best arrow, even though it's not your win condition. Endless Arrow just lets you do so much into aggro decks. You block out above rate, you send the Endless Arrow, and it's very important for the Gravy matchup. Heat Seeker, with a Tunic counter and a buff, that's like, it's like failing the crown numbers. Heatseeker is a must play. It pairs with New Horizons very, very well. The only thing that sucks is when you Heatseeker into one of these, but I don't know, YOLO. And then we've got Stone Rain and Murky Water. When you give them an encounter, they get Dominate, and that's the main reason you play this deck. Everything else in here, these arrows, they're all like, I like to imagine it like a box. They're like, these arrows are like your jab. You're sending small little hits, annoying stuff, very good value. And these are like your haymakers to like really do some damage. So like these are like your tempo plays or whatever. And then this is kind of your win condition. It's what wins you games. It stops you getting fatigued. It's disruptive. This is disruptive. The value you get from Murky Water if you get a trap back is crazy. And yeah, they're the real strengths behind the deck. These are the only blue arrows I'm playing at the minute. So when Sarong was first announced and I started playing around with the deck, I added more blue arrows into the deck. So I was like, oh, I can give them a go again. But the problem is they're still bad blue arrows. It just makes the deck worse. I will say, if you want to play extra blue arrows, just play one more playset. It does make the cost curve a little nicer with Murky Water, but it's not necessary. I found that I started winning more when I just had 6 in. Drill Shot, if you give it 2 go again, that's really good, because if your opponent has armor, they now have to think at the start of their turn, do I give my armor up to stop this shitty little blue arrow when they could come at me with a big Dominate after, or do I give them a card from hand? And both those scenarios are very good. Either they don't block and you get value from your blue, or they do block and you do get value from your blue. Intoxicating Shot is a 0 for 4 with go again, which is, I guess, it's important into the gravy matchup, but in the late game it can be very good as well. And if they fully block it out, it's a 0 for 4. If they don't, then it gets complicated. For the sideboard arrows, Falcon Wing, this is cool. This is a good addition, I think, to the deck. It is very good for Gravy Bones. That's the primary reason it's in here. It just lets you clear his allies a bit more efficiently. It clears Sawbones, clears the Ankas, it clears everything but the Chum, even clears a Swabby, which is nice. So really cool card. It lets you do, the fact that you can give it +1 from giving it an encounter means it does synergize with the deck. I'm not going to pay a whole card to give it +1, but often in a turn you'll find you've got floating resources, and so if you've got this face down your arsenal, just flip it up using some of your spare resources, save it for another turn. It's a cool card. And it's decent into fatigue decks, and it's also good in Prism. So cool little card, 0 for 4 sometimes, mostly 0 for 3, but yeah, the opportunity cost of running it is very low. It doesn't make the deck worse, it definitely makes it better. And as well, there will be some turns where you have tempo and you draw an all arrow hand and there's nothing you can do. So at least if you have Falcon Wing, you can, on your opponent's turn, load it, fire, and then fire something maybe more impactful like a Heatseeker or a Drill Shot. It just helps a little bit with consistency. Battering Bolt, it's a popper, it's 2 for 6, so it's very good, fits your resource curve nicely, it's great into the Assassins, it's great into Prism obviously, yeah, just fantastic card. And then Remorseless, just here for the aggro decks. That's it. Oh, there's one more thing. It's just lying on the floor. I think these are important as well. You should probably play these. Now I'm going to show you how to pump your arrows properly. Mainboard pumps. 3 Seek and Destroy. 3 Premeditate. I never get that right with the camera. 3 Line It Up. And 3 Deadeye. These are the main board, and then for the sideboard pumps I've got 3 Lace of Bloodrot, 3 Release the Tension, and 3 Drop the Anchor. You know, they complain about short prints in this set. No one's talking about this one being short print today. Can't find it anywhere. So these are the best ones. You play this into everyone. Premeditate, crazy value. Seek and Destroy, if you pair that with Stone Rain, oh, amazing. But it's just really good in general as well. It's also very good with Murky Water, because if you say hit with Murky Water and Seek and Destroy, you put the trap back in your arsenal, your opponent might go, oh, I can just pass, and he's got a trap in his arsenal, but you're also on the Seek and Destroy, so you have to do something. If they want to give away 4 or 5 cards for nothing, then sure, I'll just long draw and hit them again. And these 2, very strong. They're yellows, they pump by 3, and they block 3. So they're just really good all-rounders. Deadeye is very, very good disruption. Pair that with Stone Rain, and you're ripping 2 cards from their hand. And then Line It Up. It looks like the effect is redundant in terms of flipping up giving an encounter, but actually giving 2 encounters in 1 turn does come up quite a lot. So all the effects are relevant. You just play these into everyone because they're like the glue for the deck. And then sideboard, Lace of Bloodrot. I side this in basically for everyone. It's just in the sideboard because Vincent exists. Basically exists. And then Release the Tension, we're playing a deck that has Dominate as its main win condition, and so if we can pair like Seek and Destroy with a Dominate and this, and they've got a D-React in their arsenal, that's very, very good value. It just helps stopping you get fatigued as well. And then Drop the Anchor, generally can't find any of these anywhere. It's so hard to find. Should have been, rare is apparently very hard. So this, I think, in several sets will be a staple in every single Ranger deck, because it's clear that LSS going forward want to make tapping something that every hero does. And with Gravy being the best deck at the minute, there's already a good argument to play it. And if I'm being honest, Gravy's probably the hardest out of all the meta decks for this deck to beat. So Drop the Anchor, it's just really good. Taps all their allies, taps the hero. It's relevant into Marlin for what that's worth. It kills Puffin, and it's actually quite good into Cilio as well. If they're wanting to cut, because they're mostly going to play Old Knocker, right? And if they want to combo off, then they can't, because you've just gone and hit them with Drop the Anchor, and now their hero's tapped. So there's some relevance, and at the end of the day, it's a 0 for 3, which I also think is relevant into decks like Verdance, where you just want to crush them with as much damage as possible. So this extra playset of buffs actually helps the deck play a lot more aggressively, even into matchups where the effect doesn't matter. So yeah, really cool card. Again, few sets time, I think it's going to be a staple in every single Ranger deck. Now the last section, the traps. 3 Tar Pit Trap. In no particular order, of course. 3 Sink Below. 3 Boulder Trap. 3 Chain Reaction. I'm going to fix that. And then one of each legendary as well. I'll just quickly talk about Sink Below first. If you have Shelter, feel free to run Shelter. I personally prefer Sink Below, nothing to do with budget. The effect is really good, to be fair. And for the rest of the traps, I'm playing the yellows because they help your pitch curve. So if you've got Tunic Up, a buff, a Murky Water, a yellow trap, that's 10 Dominate, with hopefully getting back another trap. So they're dual purpose. They're all at least 0 for 3s on a yellow that help my cost curve, and they're often more than 0 for 3. Tar Pit Trap is broken. Silly card. It's so good. Boulder Trap in a deck with Dominate, getting rid of armor, is very, very important. And then the Chain Reaction, the effect doesn't come up too much, to be honest. It is somewhat relevant if you have like a Deadeye or a Line It Up in Arsenal. Those are probably your 2 worst Arsenal cards. You can flip them up and then save them when you've got like a Dominate. So it does come up, but it's definitely the least relevant. However, it's mostly a 0 for 4 and a yellow, which is great. And it just gives us more traps to get engraved so that our Murky is online faster. And then one of each legendary trap. They're all relevant. Spike Pit Trap is particularly relevant in this format because Slippy is apparently the best deck. And yeah, these 2 are just phenomenal. And there you have it. The true way to play Riptide now that Death Dealer has left the format. I think that if the meta stays the way it is, which it won't because Guardian's coming out, which I'll also touch on very shortly. So if we look at the Pro Tour, we've got Slippy, Gravy Bones, very popular. Syndro is very popular. We had a Verdance and Top Cut as well. And Prism's quite popular. Acilio is quite popular. Into all those matchups, barring the Gravy, I would say your favourite. Into Gravy Bones, it's quite difficult, but you have several ways to play the game and win. So you've got Disruption through Drop the Anchor, which is good. You've got Endless Arrow, Falcon Wing, helps you deal with the board a bit better, Sarong as well. And what I'm playing for is, on my small turns where it's just like a 0 for 4, I'll just send it into an ally and clear, and I'm trying to set up kind of big Dominates. And once I've got the space to do that, I'll send like 15 Dominate at their face or something, and I kind of whittle them down that way. You can pivot to Fatigue, or you can try to sort of play a more value-based game, and then once they're sub 20, you can just kind of hit the gas if you start seeing you drop the anchors. So there's a few ways to approach that matchup. With Mastery Pack Guardian coming out, I think that Bard Castaway Riptide will, if the set is relevant of course, then Bard Castaway Riptide becomes the best version of Riptide to play, because this deck is actually quite good into Guardian. It's not teched for Guardian at the minute, and it's still, the games I play into Jarl and Victor are still always very close. So with a bit of tech, it probably gets better. It remains to be seen, but that's just my prediction. So yeah, if you have any questions on the deck or anything related to life in general, then just let me know. But hopefully you've learned something from this, and I hope you have a good day.